So I saw this on D&D memes and I thought it was really funny. Me and Chris, we released a video at the same time. But after watching Chris's video, I don't think these takes are that incompatible with one another at all. Of course, Fighter can be boosted across the board and still be bad. But there are a few things I wanted to highlight about the playtest changes that we might disagree on. And if we do disagree, well, I don't really think that's a bad thing. Shoutouts to Trent Monk, by the way. Check out his channel in the description. Anyways, welcome to Pack Tactics, where everyone sits down and does some math. By the way, I burnt the roof of my mouth today due to a hot pizza, so if I sound funny, that's why. Before we begin, we need to address why it's important to talk about this. All of us want One D&D to be a better game than what 5th edition is. And for that end, it's important to understand why reactions to new stuff will differ so much on the surface, so that we can give better feedback with all the available information. I feel like in my original video, I didn't properly convey why I think martials are not in a good place in the new playtests. And that's my bad. So in this video, we're gonna try to clear the air even more. First off, let's start off with the things I agree with. So, is the base fighter class boosted? Yes, I think that's kind of obvious. And obviously the weapon masteries are also going to raise the DPR floor for the class. But I did not expect the new fighter to reach the damage numbers he got in his video. And I'm happy they can at least do that. Which brings us to some things I disagree with. Chris made a DPR comparison with both fighters at level 13, which I can only imagine serves to showcase his strategy with cleave and graze. And it just comes off as an odd place to calculate stuff on. Like, this is the same level the new Warlock is getting Simulacrum. If you have both of them Eldritch Blast with Upcast nerfed Hex to 5th level, then that Warlock's DPR is 60.16. This is with Agonizing Blast, by the way. Now, obviously, this Warlock is stupid. Who upcasts Hex at 5th level? Clearly, this Warlock has better options, but we're just gonna say this is a lazy Warlock. This math is using his base to hit chance assumption of 60%, by the way, which I don't think is completely accurate and will underrate Great Weapon Master and Sharpshooter builds while simultaneously making their higher chance to hit cousins look better than they actually are. My viewers know that I switched to a base 65% to hit assumption way back because of this specific reason. Another thing that came out as odd to me was the specific builds compared. The straight 5e champion doesn't have the advantage generation capabilities to use Great Weapon Master to its fullest potential, to the point where tabletop builds only picked Great Weapon Master at 8th level on one of their quick build champion builds. The reason behind this is that Great Weapon Master is a mere 1.5 DPR increase at level 4 compared to just taking a strength ASI. So they opted for at least having some small form of control with Sentinel until you kind of run out of options better than ASIs other than this one feat. But Kobold, what else would a champion even use? You're such a noob! Crossbow Expert and Sharpshooter, of course. We can use Crossbow Expert and Sharpshooter in melee, so let's assume that. Using the 60% base assumption for ease of comparison, it would be dealing 34.7 DPR, which is already higher DPR than the Polearm Master Great Weapon Master fighter shown in the video. The reason why 45% to hit is shown in the calculation is because of Sharpshooter and Archery feature, as you already know. But that's not really a good representative, is it? With base hit chance assumptions closer to a 65% with magic weapons being a requirement for martials at this phase, a 70% base will be used instead. This is a Crossbow Expert Sharpshooter 5e champion using a +1 hand crossbow at level 13. We get 45 DPR. This looks way better, right? But Chris's calculation at the same level with a 60% assumption is still at 50.44. While there are a few problems with it, we can quickly go through. Cleave being activated 50% of the time and not counting as half damage for hitting a second opponent is enough for me to disconsider that part of the DPR calculation. Remember, focus fire is optimal. I'll give it that I think he underrated Charger. It's super easy to proc because the straight line can be in any direction. You can literally go like this. So I'll be raising that up to 100% uptime. He also considers that he is getting the bonus action attack from Great Weapon Master 100% of the time, which is fairly optimistic considering that you got to be the one to kill the enemy to get it aside from crit chance. For this reason, I'll be limiting it to rounds in which we crit, or 38.5% of rounds. This is the build in Chris's video, but push instead of cleave, and 100% charge uptime with a +1 halberd. We get 52.76 DPR. It's just a bit more than what he calculated in his video, but still way closer to what we calculated for 5e Champion. 5e Champion was 45 DPR. And keep in mind, the new champion uses 2 once per turn features, which would lose a bit of value for those big Nova moments. It's still a boost at this specific level though, level 13.
Wait, so Champion Fighter good now? Kobold, I will build an army of champions.
Hold your horses, Gator. That's at level 13, I said that before. Not a lot of people make it to level 13. From my experience, games usually end at level 9 or 10. And if you think that's amazing for that level, let me remind you about that lazy warlock with their simulacrum we talked about before. They're doing 63.74 DPR with the 65% base hit assumption. And by the way, they don't even need any magic items. Not to mention, the lower we go, the more similar the DPR looks between the old and the new fighters. Let's take a look at level 5. The One D&D champion build presented would be doing 24.32 DPR at that level, whereas the 5e champion is doing 23.32 DPR. Guys, we're talking about a 1 DPR increase here. It really doesn't matter much at all. Although all those calculations did serve to prove that at least Polar Master Fighter is actually better at meleeing than a crossbow expert fighter in 1 D&D. That was super dumb in 5e, by the way. But anyways, that does make me wonder, how is crossbow expert and sharpshooter champion doing in 1 D&D? Let's do another level 5 and then pick crossbow expert with 2-hand crossbows equipped with Vex that we will juggle to achieve the familiar 3 attack combo. I still pick sharpshooter because even without the damage bonus, I can't imagine myself playing a ranged martial worrying about cover and lower range all the time. It's still an essential feat that gets rid of many weaknesses of the playstyle. This amounts to 20.51 DPR, which is less than the current crossbow expert sharpshooter would be doing at the same level, as previously shown. So they buffed the melee martial floor, which is good because they are in a very bad spot. And I would say they still are, but you know, it's better. The floor has been raised. I said that before. However, they nerfed the ceiling of ranged martial damage, which is bad because they're also in a bad spot too, even if they were better than melee martials. That's why I said the ceiling has been lowered. And if the ceiling has been lowered, then it's technically a nerf. And all of this is nothing compared to what casters have gotten in these past few playtests. And that's what I've tried to convey in my videos. Like the changes to Wizard, Sorcerer, and other classes in general. Then there's the medium armor and shield proficiency at level 1 with a free feat, while at the same time gating and nerfing power feats behind a level 4 prerequisite. Wizards can create super spells that don't affect allies or have unbreakable concentration. Guys, I have no idea what they're thinking. It's a complete mystery to me. There is already a martial and caster divide, and buffing casters to this extent isn't giving it any favors. The divide is getting bigger. These martial boosts are like candy to me. They need real food. We can't be happy that fighters deal more damage in a more vulnerable position in later tiers of play. We need to give feedback for better martials and less unhinged casters. In the current game, if you make a level 17 martial build, chances are super high that the true polymorph spell is stronger than your build. These new martials in this current playtest are not gonna change that. True polymorph still wins. Why do I say that? Well, the ceiling has literally been lowered. I said that before. And obviously, they're gonna boost all the monsters in the DMG. I think they've already said that in an interview. But I'm not here to spread any doom. I'm here to spread love. I really enjoyed Chris's video. It was really good since it gave me a lot to rethink and quantify. And I understand how the changes affected different martial builds a bit more now than I did before because of it. On that note, the reason I didn't use topple for the calculation is because I would enter into the matrix. It's too complicated for my small kobold brain for me to calculate, but I would highly recommend it for One D&D fighters as a mix of control and damage. It's clearly good.
Haha, kobold dumb. Kobold stupid. Stupid kobold dumb.
Shut up, Gator. My mouth still hurts. Leave me alone. Anyways, topple would be for sure a boost, but I don't think it would be enough to make this class truly great. Anyways, I gotta end the video. Check out Chris's channel. I highly recommend his Trickery Cleric series. It's really good. End of video. Bye-bye!